welcome to Week 12 of the I Formation here in the Man Room. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
And I'm John Moist.
And on we go, Week 12. Playoff picture starting to firm up. Still a lot of questions remain unanswered, but some of these games this week probably may even tell some of the stories as to where things are going. I want to give you the floor, John. Let's hear your fastest 3 minutes from last week.
Okay, we'll start with last week's Thursday nighter, Miami-Buffalo. Miami turned the ball over 3 more times in this game. Buffalo did not commit a turnover, and that was a big difference. Buffalo's defense holds Miami to under 200 net yards. On to Arizona-Atlanta. It was a unique game. Matt Ryan becomes the first quarterback to throw 5 interceptions and 0 turnovers and still win a game since Bart started it 45 years ago. Atlanta's defense was outstanding, holding the Cards to 7 total first downs. And on to Tampa Bay and Carolina. Great comeback here by the Bucs. They were down 21-10, 6 minutes to play. Come back to tie, win it on a Dallas Clark overtime touchdown. Doug Martin ran for 138 yards in this one as well. Cleveland and Dallas. Well, Cleveland had this one in the bag for a while. The Browns and their wonderful coaching staff, they found a way to snatch a defeat from the jaws of victory. 12 catches for 145 by Dez Bryant, and Dallas stays alive in the playoff race. On to Green Bay and Detroit. 4 turnovers by the Lions in this one killed them. One of them was a 72-yard interception return. Proved to be the difference in the game. Green Bay with the Chicago loss takes over the division lead now. Jacksonville and Houston. Game was a defensive nightmare for both teams. But Houston's offense proves better as Matt Schaub throws for 527 yards, and Houston has a franchise record 640 total yards. They trailed by 2 touchdowns with 12 minutes left when Schaub completed 16 consecutive throws to launch the comeback. Andre Johnson, 14 catches for 273 yards and a touchdown, and 5th overall pick Justin Blackmon had 236 yards for the Jags as a bright spot there. Like Jeff always says, he says that great teams find a way to win the game, and that's what Houston did in this one. Cincinnati and Kansas City. Bengals keep the playoff hopes alive as they come up with a great defensive effort. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis had 101 yards rushing and a touchdown. Andy Dalton was mistake-free, and Cincinnati looks solid. Now, most teams are looking solid playing the Chiefs. Romeo, Romeo, where art thou? Jets and St. Louis. 3 turnovers hurt the Rams. Jets didn't commit any turnovers. Powell, 2 rushing touchdowns for the Jets, and an upset there. Philadelphia, Washington. Washington dominates all aspects of the game. RG3 with 4 touchdown passes, 14 of 15 passing. Nick Foles did not look good. We can forget about the critics now that said that Michael Vick was the problem in Philadelphia. The problem wasn't with Vick because Foles couldn't do it either. The problem is the offensive line. Their offensive line sucks, and they have a serious lack of team leadership there. Someone's got to step up. Skins keep very slim playoff hopes alive there. New Orleans and Oakland. Drew Brees, 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Lance Moore. The Saints ran 28 rushing plays and 28 passing plays in this game. Great balance on the offense. Come up with 2 big interceptions. One was a pick 6 by Malcolm Jenkins. And the Saints are back to 500 and looking good. Will the Saints go marching in? Remains to be seen.
Whoop.
Now, we have the Colts in New England, in which New England hung 59 points on the Colts. 2 interception returns for touchdowns and a punt return for a touchdown. You turned the ball over 4 times against a team that's offensively talented as the Patriots. You're going to get blown out. And that's what happened here. The Pats are looking solid in both offense and defense, unfortunately. Denver at San Diego. My Broncos looked fantastic in this one. Another note is that Peyton Manning tied John Elway for 2nd place on the regular season career wins list. Now has 148. They're still about 30 behind Favre, though. I'm not sure what the exact number is. Broncos defense won this one, though. Some numbers there was Wesley Woodyard had 8 tackles and an interception. Elvis Dumerville, 6 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. Champ Bailey had 8 tackles. And Von Miller had 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in this game. Fantastic player, and should be in the mix for Defensive Player of the Year if he keeps up the way he's playing now. Broncos, 5 straight wins now. Baltimore-Pittsburgh was a defensive battle. Difference being Jacoby Jones' 63-yard punt return for a touchdown in the first quarter. Pittsburgh did not look good in this one. Byron Leftwich was pounded. He is gone now as well. Pittsburgh is looking for Charlie Batch in the next game. and Baltimore is looking very strong defensively. Chicago at San Francisco. Colin Kaepernick comes in at quarterback and throws 2 touchdown passes and didn't throw a pick. He looked solid. The 49ers defense held the Bears to 143 total yards and only 58 net yards passing. Amazing defense by San Francisco. Sacked Campbell 6 times, intercepted him twice. 5.5 sacks for linebacker Aldon Smith, and 2 forced fumbles. This young fella is a beast. He's only 23 years old. He leads the NFL in sacks now with 15, and a very bright future for this young man. And that's it for last week.
Well, what he said. I'm good with that this week. Stick around, folks. We're going to talk about this week's picks. And actually, surprisingly, we're probably going to fight tooth and nail this week. We differ on quite a number, so stay tuned.
Hey, welcome back. We'll now make our picks for Week 12. Starting with Houston at Detroit on Thanksgiving Thursday in the U.S.
3 days in there. 3 games that day. Houston's going into Detroit, and we all know we're a little scared of this Detroit pick, but you know what? Picking Houston all the way. I think with the points they put on the board last week, albeit a little bit of a blip on the radar with their defense, I think they straighten that up this week and they go in and they beat them at home.
Yeah, I think Houston will win this game. I think that Detroit always shows up big on Thanksgiving, yes, but Houston just flat out has a better team than the Lions. And it is a short week for Houston, and they may have some trouble. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but definitely picking Texans to win this game, yeah.
Fair enough. Washington's going into Dallas, always a good game. And you know what? I see the carryover here. Griffin had an incredible week this week. I still see a Dallas team that's in disarray that can be beaten. There's glimmers of brilliance coming from that Washington defense too, Fletcher and company. And I think that Griffin goes into Dallas and takes the Jerry Dome by storm.
Well, I'm going to pick Dallas in this one, but I do agree that it's going to be a very close game. I believe the last 4 meetings between these two teams have been decided by a field goal or less. Always a good battle. I just think Dallas at home. I think that Romo can outplay RG3 in this one, and I think you're going to see Dallas come up with a victory by field goal.
Okay, next one's the WGAF Bowl for me. New England at the Jets. I couldn't hate 2 teams more, I got to tell you.
Yeah, really. I don't mind the Jets, but I hate New England. But I think New England's going to win this game.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Jets have enough to keep up. Actually, didn't they beat them last time, though? I think New England beat the Jets last time they played them. Or the Jets beat New England, I mean. Was it 29-26?
Yes, it was close. I believe you may be right. Again, so many weeks have gone by. I'd have to go back and look, but you know what? I don't think this one's going to be close. No. But I'm going to tell you that they're not going to hang 59 points on that Jets team.
Tom Brady versus Mark Sanchez. Not really a...
Bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
All right, moving on into the Sunday games. We got Buffalo in Indianapolis to play the Colts. Here we go again.
I think that Buffalo can win this game. I'm going to pick Buffalo to win this game because Fred Jackson is back, and I think Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller can control the game on the ground. And I think Buffalo is starting to show up defensively. I think they will go into Indianapolis and upset them in a close game.
Okay. The only thing they may upset is your juice box and not the straw, but I'm sorry. I think that Indianapolis is going to hold court at home. I think after licking the rooms after last week, Andrew Luck is growing as a quarterback. I think that experience humbled him a little bit. He's going to make adjustments, and I think that they put lots of points on the board. Watch for Reggie Wayne to have a big game. Okay, Minnesota and Chicago.
I like the Bears here. Jeff said earlier that he would not want to face Brian Urlacher this week after last week, and I'd have to agree. I think the Bears at home, and I think it might be a close one. Minnesota has a pretty good team too, but the Bears are just too strong defensively, and I think the Bears will win this one by probably 6 points.
And poor coach in the hospital still. I think they win one for Ditka. Hopefully he's doing better. Goodwill soon, coach. We want to see you back behind the panel.
For sure.
Denver is playing Kansas City this week. Again, your upstart looking very good Broncos playing an abysmal team. But here I am speaking this and building this up. This will be the time that we're going to turn around. We both agree that Denver's going to win this game.
Yes.
That should scare the hell out of you because I don't think I picked Kansas City twice right this year.
No.
But again, always a scare at Arrowhead. If the Kansas City Chiefs team shows up cohesively at home, they keep this close for 3 quarters, I think. But Manning is going to, win that horse race. I think they win this game probably 10, 15 points.
I agree.
All right, Seattle and Miami.
Miami has not been looking good. They do play stronger at home. They got a strong defense, but they've been turning over the ball a lot. And this Seattle team is in the hunt for a playoff spot now. They're going to be playing hard, and I don't think Miami has enough to beat Seattle. I see it as being a low-scoring game. I think Seattle wins in a close one.
And the only term I can think about is Golden. You want to think about semi-precious? How about Golden Tate? What a year he's having out there. Him and Sidney Rice. I agree. I'm afraid of this pick because I'm always afraid of the Dolphins at home on a Sunday afternoon. They can put it together. They can win a game. But you're right. Seattle is hungrier. I think they win this in a close one. Okay. Pittsburgh is in Cleveland to play the Browns. Your favorite team of all the NFL.
No, my favorite team is Denver, but I do like Pittsburgh. And
I'm talking about the Browns.
Oh, of course, the Browns. God,
That's sarcasm.
How could I go against the Browns? They're fantastic. I mean, holy Lord. Charlie Batch came in admirably before, and he can win this game. I think he'll go into Cleveland, and I think Pittsburgh holds Cleveland to under 10 points, and Pittsburgh's defense wins this game.
Okay, I see this quite differently. I see Cleveland last week playing a good game against a stuttering, albeit stammering a little bit, Dallas Cowboys team. I see these guys coming in at home, gathering resolve in the dog pound. I see a Pittsburgh team in disarray, and you were all about last week about Brian Leftwich, and I said sandwich, and boy, was he a sandwich when he met that defensive line.
Leftwich shouldn't have stayed in the game.
No, but that's fine and dandy. Charlie Batch didn't win the game either, and I still think that I don't think, and a third-string quarterback, I think that Ben Roethlisberger is a much bigger piece of that puzzle than a lot of people want to give him credit for. I think with the likes of Troy Polamalu missing on the lineup too, makes a big difference for that team. I see a team that wants to win and has the heart and soul of a lion and a champion, but I got my doubts, and I'm picking Cleveland as my goal pick this week to upset Pittsburgh at home. Okay, Oakland is in Cincinnati and the Bengals. Boy, they turned a corner, didn't they?
Wow, Cincinnati is back in the playoff run. 5-5 now, and looking very good. Offensively, Dalton not making too many mistakes. Defensively, they're looking great. And Oakland, one of those scary teams that can show up every now and again. I don't see them going into Cincy and beating them when Cincy's still in the playoff hunt. I think they're going to play hard and beat them.
Watch for Jermaine Gresham to have a huge game this week against Oakland. Tennessee is in Jacksonville. I don't care where they're playing. I think Tennessee has enough to put this team together. Johnson on the ground. I think they beat Jacksonville. They scored a few points last week, and they certainly put a scare in their last game. But I don't think they're for real. I still think they're the worst team in the National Football League, and I think that Tennessee handles them.
Yeah, Jacksonville did put up a lot of points last week against Houston. They still lost that game. Tennessee, however, dismantled Miami the week before last. So they were extremely confident going into their bye week, and they're going to be extremely confident going into this game as well. And I think Tennessee will beat Jacksonville.
Fair enough. Atlanta is in Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. And, woo! We disagree on this one. Big surprise. Tell me why I should believe you about Atlanta beating these guys at home in 25 words or less.
Well, Matt Ryan threw 5 picks last week. He's going to be looking to redeem himself. Tampa Bay is the 32nd ranked pass defense in the NFL. There's your reason.
Okay. Well,
Atlanta.
That's fine. I think they're going to give Michael Turner fits on the ground, though. I think they shut down the running game. I think Doug Martin plays well. I think they're at home. They're a team. If you want to talk about a hungry team in the National Football League right now, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I agree.
I think that this team hands it to Atlanta at home.
Hands it to him.
Hands it to them. And I'm saying a touchdown at least. Cover that spread. I'm not afraid of it.
I like Atlanta by a touchdown.
We'll see. Baltimore is playing San Diego in San Diego. There's another team now that can smell. It's kind of funny how the roles have reversed now with the Pittsburgh idea and Baltimore. Two of these teams teetering above the top of their division. Right now, Baltimore, and you said it yourself, Baltimore played well last week defensively.
They did.
And I think that against that San Diego Chargers team, I think they have the will and the resolve to be able to win and get the ball into the end zone. I think Rice plays well against this team, and I think maybe we'd actually see Flacco take control of this game, like we've seen him do sometimes already in this season. Where games where he's successful in calling the plays as opposed to being the person throwing the ball. And I spoke about this early in the season. I think that the more Flacco runs the game, the better he gets as a quarterback. He's got one of the strongest arms in the National Football League, and it's a shame that we don't get to see it as much as we do. I think he's throwing a lot of these short passes. Rice is running the ball a ton, but you know what? Flacco can get the ball in the end zone 40, 50 yards plus if he needs to do it. And I think as he grows as a quarterback, this team gets harder to beat. Plus, you've got the whole idea of winning one for Ray. I think Ray Lewis. Sorry, and I said that once already this year. It's not Ray Cerrone. Ray Lewis wants to be back. Suggs is back, and I saw him in an interview this week. He made a comment. The newscaster tried to ask some pretty dumb-ass questions, actually, but he said to me, he said, well, how many percent are you? Are you 100%? No, I'm not, but I'm not going to tell you what percent I'm at. And he also said, so what is it that you can't do out there? Like, I'm going to tell you what my weaknesses are right in front of everybody on the camera before the National Football League. I think Suggs has got the heart of a lion. I think that, he's helping be the center of that centerpiece of that defense right now. And I see that Ed Reed was actually supposed to be suspended, but now he's reduced to a fine this week. I think we really got to be careful right through the league, making sure, and I'm not going to turn this into a soapbox, but I am going to say that if you're going to start fining people for headshots or, a series of headshots, let's make sure that there's a parity in the league with how we're doing this. Let's not make an example of one person and decide that's going to change the whole course of the game. So shout out to you, Ed, because I know you're one for catching that ball in the numbers and one for, cutting under lines. And, sometimes as a consequence, you get to the ball a little quicker. So, keep up what you're doing, and I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I certainly think that you're going to be aware when you get to that receiver, and you're making the right moves, and I don't think that we should make a big deal of this. And obviously the league has decided to underplay it a little bit more too. So I think Baltimore wins this game on pure defense. I think it's going to be a turnover game. I think that they get to Phillip Rivers, and I think that they force the issue, and points off turnovers always win football games for me. So Baltimore in a close one.
Yeah, as much as I respect that call, I think that San Diego is in a situation now they're playing at home. I think that Baltimore is due for an upset. I think that Baltimore played well against Pittsburgh last week, against the depleted Pittsburgh squad. And I think that San Diego is in a position now where if they don't win this game, they're effectively pretty much eliminated from the playoffs. I think they're going to play strong at home. They're going to play strong for Norv Turner, whose job is in jeopardy. And I think that San Diego will beat the Ravens at home this week.
Okay, fair enough. San Francisco going to the Big Easy to play the New Orleans Saints, the new and improved New Orleans Saints, who are now at even Steven, right, 5-5.
Yes.
But they're a strong 5-5 if there was ever such an animal. Just like the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, they came out.
They were
0-4.
Yeah.
So now it's what have you done for me lately? And I think Drew Brees is an animal. I think the ball on the ground. Chris Ivory didn't have much of a week last week, but they are mixing up the plays. And you said dead balance last week. 28 plays, running 28 plays in the air, and Brees had a day, right? And of course, Jimmy Graham is just Jimmy Graham. What a season he's having in New Orleans. I think that San Francisco had a great defensive outing this week against the Bears. But I don't think they're going to be able to hold back New Orleans at home, who's got something to prove and are still very much in this playoff race. I think this game means a lot more to New Orleans than it does to San Francisco, and I'm picking them to win this. I'm going to say it's a shootout. I don't even think it's a defensive game. I think they both score a lot of points, and New Orleans comes out on top.
I disagree. I think that when you're talking about beasts, you talked about Drew Brees being a beast on offense. Well, you got to talk about San Francisco, whose defense is just smoking everybody right now. And last week they destroyed, who'd they play?
San Francisco? The Bears.
They destroyed the Bears
They had
last week.
Jason Campbell, though. I don't agree with you there, I got to say. But no, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I think that Alvin Smith on defense, as a captain of defense, is fantastic. San Francisco is just too strong defensively. And I don't think that New Orleans can outscore them because New Orleans, I'm not sold on New Orleans defense yet. Yes, they're coming up with some key picks. And yes, they're scoring a lot of points. But San Francisco is a better football team all around. And I really think that San Francisco will go into New Orleans and beat them in this game.
We'll see. I think the defense shows up for the New Orleans Saints that's shown up in the last 2 or 3 games, and they've turned a corner defensively. They were horrible at the beginning of this year. They were in a disarray. Let me tell you, if that team shows up defensively and starts pressuring the quarterback, whoever that may be, I think, and they can shut down the run, I think they're going to force the ball in the air. And let me tell you, I don't care who's throwing the ball in San Francisco. If it's going to be a shooting match, I like Drew Brees' chances.
I'm not a believer that New Orleans can beat San Francisco.
All right.
But if they win this week, I will definitely be a believer in the Saints.
Cue the Monkeys music.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay, Green Bay at the Giants. The Giants of New York. The Giants Football Club. Whatever you want to call them. I see a Green Bay team now who's just taken over first place their division, and a team that's hungry to keep a hold of that. And I think that Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, make a stand and they beat the New York Giants. I think the Giants are a little overrated these last few weeks. I don't think they're playing the football they were playing around the end of the first quarter of the season when we thought that they were the best thing since sliced bread. I see some slowdowns. I see some indecision offensively and defensively, and I just think the Green Bay's got the better package right now, and they're going to come out and they're going to beat the Giants.
Yes, Green Bay is going to New York to play the New York Football Giants. And when are the Giants play their best? When they're down, when they're the underdog. And I don't know if they're an underdog here. I think they're a better team than Green Bay, especially when they're playing at home. I think that the Giants are not only going to beat Green Bay, I think they're going to beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Just like to say that he doesn't have a license for medical marijuana.
Andre Brown with a big game on the ground.
That's right. Andre Green. Oh, Brown. Okay, never mind. I wasn't sure. We're into the Monday Nighter now. The last of the games, Carolina at Philadelphia. Boy, I got the popcorn and everything sorted and salted away. Matter of fact, John, I want to return your movie because you're probably going to want to watch this on Monday night instead. Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
I know that this game is probably not going to interest you.
No.
I think this is a carnage blowout. I think Cam Newton twists them around. I don't care who they start. I don't care if it's Michael Vick. I don't care if they start Vic Hetfield. I don't care.
Get away from me. Oh, sorry.
What was that tremendous banging? Oh, there. All right. I think that this is like Cam Newton has had a mediocre season at best this year, but this depleted, demoralized, disgusting Philadelphia team is not going to be able to measure up against Carolina. I think they go into Philadelphia, they win this big. 2 touchdowns plus.
I think Cam Newton is a better quarterback than Nick Foles. If Nick Foles Vic might be back in this one. I'm not sure what's going on there yet.
He hasn't been back all year. I don't care if he's playing or not.
I think he's a better quarterback than Vic this year too, and I think that Carolina has a better team. Philadelphia looks awful. Their offensive line looks awful. Their defense looks awful, and sometimes they can show up. You never know what might happen. But I agree. I will pick Carolina Panthers to beat Philly this week.
There they are, folks. We drastically disagreed this week. This is the first time this year we're actually differing on 8 picks.
8 of 16.
Usually 8 of 16. Usually what happens there is we end up splitting a few of these, and some of these can go either way. If one of us picks them all right, the other is going to bury the other one in the standings, or I'm going to catch up. We'll have to see. Stick around. We're going to tell you our final thoughts, and we'll pick a team of the week and a player of the week. Hi, and welcome back. Here's our final thoughts. We're going to pick ourselves a player each and a team each that we think is going to perform well this week. Let me lead it off, John. I'm going to start with my Cleveland Browns. I know you've been on a rant about them all year long, about how bad they are. But you know what? I think they're going to come out this week. They're in the dog pound. I think they're going to put off they played a fairly good game last week. I think they're going to expose some weakness in that third string quarterback that is Charlie Batch. And I think they're going to see that this Pittsburgh team is in a lot of trouble. So I'm also going to pick Jermaine Gresham this week to have 2 touchdowns for the Bengals this week when they play Oakland. So who do you like this week?
Well, speaking of 2 touchdowns, I like Arian Foster to get at least 2, maybe 3 against Detroit. Detroit's run defense is not great, and Arian Foster didn't rush for 100 yards in his last game, so he's due for 2 or 3 this time.
Law of averages said you didn't go out on a limb there, did you?
My team is going to be the San Diego Chargers to upset Baltimore. I'm still not sold 100% on Baltimore being a legit Super Bowl contender without Ray Lewis and Ladarius Webb. And I think San Diego has something to prove here. They want to stick around and still be in that playoff hunt, and they want to win one for North Turner. And I think San Diego, my pick of the week for the team of the week is San Diego Chargers.
Fair enough. That's how we saw it this week, folks. Be sure to come back next week and see how we did for week 13. Also, if you get a chance, come in on Facebook and like us on Facebook. Our page is the I Formation, all one word. Or if you want to subscribe to our videos, you can look up Omega Adam 474 on YouTube. So for this week, it's good night from me.
It's good night from him. Have fun. Another one in the can is right, yes, another one in the can. And I'm surprised we got through this entire episode without Jeff realizing the change we made to his man room this week. So I'm going to ask Jeff right now to look behind himself.
Oh, Christ. What are you trying to do, scare people away? You have the benefit of knowing, at least now with the labor strike, they have just as good a chance of winning the Stanley Cup this year as everybody else.
Way to go, producer Adam, for keeping Jeff occupied there while I made that switch.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you didn't say anything about Brokeback Mountain either, did he?